When a company thinks about branding their web presence, one common thing to add to their applications is a standard header and footer. In this session, I will walk you through the steps for adding a header and footer to the template, allowing your applications to appear with a standard look and feel. If you viewed the Cascading Style Sheets Part 2 presentation, you will recognize this external application configuration file. I am showing this to you so that you will understand that the template file we need to be modifying is, for this application, specified in the external application configuration file. We can modify this template, and when we upgrade our Genero application server, we are comforted in knowing that our customized template file has not been overwritten. The steps for adding the header and footer to our template. We want to include an image as part of our header, so we need to create an alias for the directory containing the image. After making changes to the Genero application server configuration file, we need to restart the GASD. We started in development mode to ensure that the template file is always refreshed and that the browser is not using a cached copy. This ensures that we immediately see the changes we are making in the template file. We then add the code to our template to create the header, and we test our applications by refreshing the application within the browser. We then add the code to our templates to create the footer, and again we test our additions by refreshing the application within the browser. For the rest of the presentation, I will be walking you through these steps. For our header, we are going to want to display an image. In order to have the Genero application server deliver the image, we need to create, in the Genero application server configuration file, an alias for the directory that contains the image. You should be familiar with defining the alias, but to review, we specify within the alias, for the ID attribute, we give it an alias path, and for the value, we provide the true directory path. And while I've specified the full path name here, many would also have created a resource to reference the path and provided the resource as the value. Here is the as.xcf file, and you can see that I have added the alias we have discussed. And whenever we make any changes to the Genero application server configuration file, we need to restart the GASD. I restart the application server using the -- development flag. Let's first see the application as it is now before we add our header and footer. Let's examine the header code that we plan to add to our template main.xhtml. Within the div tags, we are providing a class, appHeader, and a background color, which appears as gray. We then provide an image tag, and we use the Genero template language to set the attribute for the src. The application/connector URI lets the rendering engine know that the directory sits on the Genero application server host. And the alias path plus file name allows the engine to find the image. If the image is not found, the alternate is to display the text Genero logo. For the footer code, in the div tags we provide a class of appFooter, and then some simple text with an href that opens an email to the 4J support email alias when a user clicks on the link. We now just have to add the code to our main.xhtml file. But where do you add it? You want the header to appear at the top of an application's user interface and the footer to appear underneath. I look through the code and I find in the code the information that displays the application's windows. I want to put the header before this code and the footer after this code. Here is the code that displays the application windows and the start menu. Above this code, I need to add the header code. I've already added the code and commented it out, so let me just remove the comments now and save my changes. This is the same code that we saw previously on a slide. I save my changes, and then I want to test this addition within the browser. I refresh the browser, and I can see my header with this image appearing. So far, so good. Below the window and start menu code, I need to add the footer. Again, I've added this previously and commented it out, so let me remove the comments. And let me save my changes. Again, I test the addition, and when I refresh my browser, the footer appears.